This is the video game Banished. What do you build first? My town started out right in this area, and you've pretty much got three or four options. Number one, if you have animals, if you have a herd of animals at the start of your game, you might want to build a pasture. Pasture is not a quick build, but it's somewhat easy, and you can get those animals into your pasture as quickly as possible, which will start producing food and materials such as wool or leather. If they are not in a pasture, they will eventually die and you lose the use of it. Another option is to build a field for a food item. Very easy to build, very quick to build. And because it takes a long time to produce food, you probably want to get started on it right away because you're going to need food as your town grows. Another thing that's very important is the woodcutter. You're going to have a supply of logs which need to be chopped into firewood. As your population grows, you're going to need to have firewood produced so that people don't freeze. You see all the houses here that are short on fuel. So those are some of the obvious things that you're going to build right away. Once you get those down, you're going to have a certain strategy. One of them could be to build a trading post once you learn how to do trading. Fisherman is a really good option because it's just very easy for them to do their work, unlike the farm. What the farm does is you have a risk that they might not plant, they might not harvest, you might not get anything. With the fishing, you kind of get an even, steady flow of fish coming in. You see, I got 1,200 from the previous season, and over here I got 1,100. So the fisherman does compete with a crop field. So I usually go with the fisherman because it's just a lot more reliable um, than those crop fields are. At some point, you're going to have to do clothing. It's a little bit further down. You're going to have to be concerned about tools. Um, I would say that those are the biggest ones. The other thing is I use the taverns to generate revenue. It's not a tavern. These are my taverns. This is how I haul in all the cash. In order to do it at the start, you see I'm using plum. You got to have orchards. So what I do, did you see it just had the icon for saving the game? One of my strategies is to build orchards for whatever fruit you can use in the tavern, and then I sell the ale and I use it to trade for materials that I need. Be aware that you should not use wheat in the tavern because it consumes too much wheat and it's not worth it. So one of the other things you're going to want to do is you're going to want to check your inventory and definitely your graphs. Like I need firewood right now and food. You can see how food is growing. Tools, I'm doing pretty good, but I definitely need firewood. So this is an example of what you need to do. You should keep this open, get your town hall, and watch these graphs. It's a lot easier to figure out what you need to do. For example, I might need to chop some wood. I might need to build more woodcutters, etc. And obviously, at the start of the game, you're going to chop down a lot of trees. You might need a forester. Um, Definitely, if you are near a river, look into a place to strategically put a bridge because you might need the landmass on the other side, but don't, use up all your resources building a bridge. Okay, so my recommendation, if you have animals, definitely build a pasture, definitely go with crops, get into a woodcutter, and then work towards tools and clothing, trading posts, and then move on to many of the other items that I mentioned in this video. The other thing is you're going to want eventually need to build houses, but you have a lot of time. You see how it says 94 is a number of says current season and number of years. You have like 40 human years to build more houses before the population ceases. It's something like that, rough number. And you have to build houses for the men and women to get married and to start families. So at some point you have to build houses, but when you do that, you want to make sure you have a supply of food and a supply of wood. Okay, if you have any questions or comments, please post below.